We'll begin in about 3 minutes. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us this morning from across the Corn Belt. My name is Jeff Jocelyn. I am the Digital Ag Lead with LG Seeds. And this morning, we're excited to share LG Seeds' progress in product development, as well as a new way to ensure those products are being placed on farms while considering each field's individual circumstances. So one of the things we know is that we certainly are in a time of economic pressure on growers to make a profit, and we're going to be facing that for the next 5 years. And virtually that's our challenge every year, of course. But one of the things we like to make a point is that then to do that, we don't want to work with a limited part of information, limited information. We need more information to be able to have a more complete picture of what we need to do to accomplish. And so our goal for today is to share, to help you see how to get more information and get the most real LG seed products based on the way that you farm or the way that your customers farm. And so to do that, we're going to walk through this mixed matters approach together here on this half hour. And we're going to start off with taking a look at the productivity challenge that we all face. This is a slide put together by Iowa State University using Story County, Iowa as their example. And what they've done with this straight line you see extending from 1950 up to almost 2020 is they've calculated what they consider the attainable yield given the genetics of the time. And you can see that line steadily progressing through years. We know that line is never real straight in the real world, but the average of it would be, of course. The next line that they have calculated is what actual yield was in that county for the county yield. We know we track that, USDA tracks that. And you can see that there are a couple of times when that yield actually exceeded what Iowa State calculated for attainable yield, potential genetic yield, and a couple other times where it got right at it or really approached it. But for the most part, there's a gap in most years. And of course, on the average, there is a gap. That yield gap then is dollars we're leaving on the table between what the potential of the seed is versus how we actually get there. Now, we know there's a lot going on that causes that to be the case. And we rely heavily, of course, in the seed industry. We talk about the seed and the genetics all the time, but we know that the environment, what's going on with the soils that we deal with, and the weather that we deal with is a huge impact. And then how that's impacted by the management of the farming operation, both in terms of planning and anticipating and reacting to the environment, both in the soils and specifically to the weather as well. So if we don't get those three at as good alignment as possible, we won't achieve an attainable yield. That would pretty much make sense. So what we're making an assumption moving forward with our talk here this morning is to say that we want to look at maximizing farm productivity. That's our given. So we think that to do that, even though we're looking at the farm as a whole as to what we achieve, we need to consider each field individually in a better way than what we have in the past. So we use another example here in this productivity challenge, and we're painting with broad strokes here, so forgive us for that. But in the past, whenever a seller approaches an operation, he or she typically comes out with a subset of products that they sell, that they plan to sell to that operation. And usually it's based on a limited amount of information about that operation in particular. No outside entity can come onto a farming operation and know that operation's fields, as well as the grower that's farming it. He or she is probably bringing in yield bias on what has been plot winners. That could be one of the reasons they choose the products they do. They could be bringing in what they sell the most of, what their volume leaders are, and that can influence that. Could be bringing in what has the least amount of risk. That's the most kind of consistent product, especially if it's new to a farming operation and they want to get off on the right foot. But the bottom line in all of that is they're making certain assumptions that may or may not be correct. Sometimes they are correct and line up well in some fields, and sometimes there's fields that we're not giving the most information or offering the most advice about product placement, what product to choose and where to put it. Other sellers that come to the farm are going to do the same kind of thing. They may have a different bias that they're leaning towards and why they're recommending what they're recommending. But in many cases, you're going to have overlaps between what we come out and sell, and then we're going to have some uniqueness. But in most all cases, on any operation of any size, there's going to be fields that, in terms of what the sellers offer and what they know about that operation, don't match up. In other words, it leaves the grower guessing as to how to take the products he's chosen to use on his farm, to where to place them and how to manage them. And what we've done is we've created a little different approach to this. We're calling it Mix Matters. And what the approach is to say, if we better understood every field better understood how the growers are farming those fields, and could pull in more information to tell us more about the soil and weather for those fields, then we could go to our portfolio and offer better advice, not based on our biases, but based on what the conditions of that operation tell us, to make a recommendation then that puts the best product on every field. And if we do that, then we can achieve that attainable yield for that farm. So we have a video here we'd like to share with you. It's just under 3 minutes long, that'll walk through the highlights of what we're talking about, and then we'll get back together here and we'll explore that together. So here goes.
The perfect hybrid mix for every field, every year, on every farm. This is the philosophy behind Mix Matters, a bold new commitment to farming from the team who means business at LG Seeds. What sounds like a simple plan for success is actually a complex mix of science and technology that carries LG Seeds, our star partners, and their customers into tomorrow. Through innovative research and hybrid technology, a uniquely diversified product line, dedicated local expertise, and intuitive tools, we are ready to work smarter, dig deeper, and respond faster than ever before. We are so committed to Mix Matters that we won't just do it right, we'll do it best. Thanks to 3 key components designed to minimize risk, and maximize potential. 1. Mix makers. This is an exceptional line of key hybrid products mixed into every custom blend to boost overall seed performance and produce higher yield results. 2. Fast Track. Straight out of research, Fast Track products are too good to wait any longer. After rigorous testing and top performance, they are fast tracked for commercial availability so farmers can reap their rewards. 3. Mix Matters Tool. This custom app allows farmers and star partners to quickly and conveniently determine the right mix for every field based on existing data and location-driven information. Through these 3 key components and the core Mix Matters philosophy, LG Seeds is reshaping the future of farming. Every field counts. Every team member makes a difference. And every mix matters. Let's get to work.
Okay, so let's get to work. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that video kind of piqued your interest a little bit about the things that we're doing and how that could impact you and your customers and your operation. And let's explore that together here now. What is Mix Matters that you've seen in this video? And essentially, it's an expanded product placement approach. So there's old to everything we do. There's always things we repeat that we've done in the past, but there's always something new that we want to embrace when we have confidence to embrace that. So the first aspect of that is that we really want to focus more on placing products better than we have in the past. That's really the point. So that offers us. Yes.
Your screen is black. Can you share your
presentation? My screen is black. I bet I clicked on the wrong screen share. I did 2. How did that work that time?
There we go. Now we're seeing it. Thanks, Jeff.
I clicked on it, Julie. I just didn't click right, apparently. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, guys. So what I was just saying there is what you have in front of you. And I was starting with the first statement. That is that we're looking then to provide solutions. Solutions are answers to problems. And we all have problems or challenges that we face. And to do it with unique germplasm that comes from LG Seeds. We're looking to expand supply by identifying high performers earlier. Products that are heads and shoulders above the other things we're comparing to, that we can develop confidence early and bring them to the field early. And we're looking to expand the potential of every field by creating better seed plans with all of this. In doing so, what we want to do is increase the opportunity for improved productivity for the whole farming operation. And we want to expand the customer experience by what they receive from us with our products and the performance of our products on their operation. So let's explore that together. So when we look at what any company offers in a portfolio, kind of the big picture, it'd be fair to say that everybody coming out has got primary products they sell the majority of, they position the majority of the time. They're their mainline products, they're high performing, they usually are in a wider area of adaptation, they're usually at a high volume, and usually they come in with a marketing premium. But they're the products that are known for that company, and of course LG Seeds has that as well. And that will continue moving forward. And every company usually has what we're calling the support product, the more targeted product. They often can be familiar to customers, usually indicating that they're older. They don't have to be, but they tend to be in that category. They're usually at a lower volume or have moved to a lower volume, and they are usually being used now in a more specific role, in an area or for a need for a specific purpose. And often they may be value priced, having a lower price. But it's that middle, that's the middle ground that everybody kind of struggles with, and that LG Seeds now has said, look, we're going to have a specific middle ground that we're calling mix makers. So these are new solutions, but they're new solutions that we have a high degree of confidence in by the way we've tested them, by the way we've compared them, by the way we've brought them to the marketplace. So they're already going to have a higher volume because we have that kind of confidence in them. They're going to have yield that every one of us always look for when we're looking at new products, but what they're also going to carry is agronomic characteristics that set them apart. Something key about them, that bonus, that extra about them that makes them this mix maker product, and that is a differentiator. And finally, They may be a very wide adaptation, like the majority product, and they may be more regional. We have a national list of products, but we may have teams that have a product that's a newer product that fits for them in their area that might not fit on that larger scale. So we may have a broad range of where these products are available to us at and how they're available to us. And finally, the last piece of this is over on the right-hand side where it says fast track. And that's recognizing that we always got to stay on the leading edge of the yield curve. So when new products and the newest products are always what's driving a seed company. And at LG Seeds, we've actually said we're going to develop a little different way of doing this, and we're calling it fast track. These may be products that fit into that primary category. They will certainly be products that fit into that mix makers category. So let's explore those together quickly. On the mix makers, the list right now for 2021 is 14 products, ranging from 88 days to 118. Okay, these have traits from conventional all the way through the AgriSure traits. You can see they're at a pretty high volume, making up 265,000 units. That's a significant share of the LG Seeds volume. Okay, they're unique products to LG Seeds, and they have those key agronomic characteristics we talked about and that regional to wide adaptation that we talked about. So there's products in here that if you're looking for 109 day, that you want to consider the fact that how would 59C72 fit into that farming operation, and that's the advice and the insight we'll talk about offering you with the new tool. The second category, that is the fast track hybrids. So you're saying, well, you're rushing it to the marketplace. What's that different than any other year? Well, this is a system that we've decided to put into place that says we are going to bring this a little faster, perhaps a year or more ahead of what has been a traditional or historic schedule, but we're going to do it in a way that we have absolute confidence in, and that's what we have here with these 8 products. You can see they're all conventional. That gives you a clue of coming again from unique germplasm. That doesn't mean in the future there might not be something that comes initially as a fast track with a trait, but right now and for the near future, it will clearly be something that's coming from LG Seeds, from AgriLion Genetics, and therefore the likelihood of being a conventional. They are obviously unique, and they're going to be at a smaller volume. So getting our hands on these and trying these early is going to be key to making sure we have the confidence to launch them and move them more into that mix makers and to primary product role. So that's our second component of the Mixed Matters approach that was talked about in the video. What's the third? And that's the tool itself. So let's explore that a little bit better. We're going to quickly talk about what it does and doesn't do just in the big picture. So what it does do is it creates customized seed plans quickly. And every word in that is a key word. And the last word is the key word. This is a digital ag tool that offers advice and recommendations quickly. It accounts for field management and characteristics of a field at the field level, pulling in soil and weather information for that. And it engages customers by focusing on them because the tool starts with asking them, how do you farm? How do you manage your fields? So it changes everything to the local basis, specifically, quickly. Now, what it doesn't do is it doesn't offer advanced editing of boundaries. It does have a merge tool where we can combine common land units together into larger field operations based on how the CLUs are listed, okay? It does not create variable rate seeding scripts, and it doesn't calculate crop progress or offer that to you in a visual format of the timeline. But the good news is all 3 of those are available to you still with Advantage Acre, and fields that are created in the Mixed Matters tool can be sent to Advantage Acre to use all these tools like we have in the past, as well as seed plans now created in the Mixed Matters tool quickly and much more quickly than it can be in Advantage Acre, can also be sent to Advantage Acre to move forward with, whether it's monitoring them or creating variable rate scripts for them, okay? Essentially, what we want to keep in mind is the Mixed Matters tool is focusing on the field level at the whole. It's not managing zones, so it's not a precision ag platform. It's not designed to create a variable rate. What it is designed to do is to consider the maximum amount of information with the least amount of user input and time. And that's really critical to our conversation, okay? So if we move forward on that, let's take a look at the tool itself. Here it is. We're going to look at it in the format that you would see if we were looking at it on a PC screen. We'll talk about going there with mixedmatterstool.com. But the initial login page gets right to business. If you have an Advantage Acre account already, you can log on with that username and password and pull your fields in if you choose to do so. If you do not have an Advantage Acre account and you're not sure that you'd like to do something with this tool, you can log on as a guest, which we'll do today, and it'll walk you through everything all the way up to creating reports, no harm, no foul type of situation. Nothing's ventured, nothing's gained, also nothing's lost, nothing's committed to. It's just looking around and playing with the tool and seeing how it works. What you can also do is say up front, I don't have an Advantage Acre account, but I know I want to create one. And you can log in initially and create an account. Before you leave the tool, every user has the opportunity to say, I'd like to have an account. I'd like to send my fields to Advantage Acre. I'd like to do more with them in Advantage Acre because this is our placement tool, okay? So the next thing we go to is once we've logged on, we go to the legal statement, so you can read through that, accept that to move on. And then it takes us to location. That's where we're going to start, local. So we have two ways. We can allow the location services of the device you're on to work and pull in based on that device, or you can enter a zip code in. So I can be in Illinois and enter a zip code for California and look at fields in the California area of that zip code. So we have those options as to how we log on. We're going to put a zip code in for an example here in Illinois. This particular field is, and it's going to move, instead of to the fields, it's going to move to asking questions about how you farm at the farm level. What is the big picture? So the grower would fill this out, or the dealer would fill this out based on what they know about the operation to offer some advice. And what we want to think of when we look at this is we want to come back to that time. And what we designed is questions here that will cover the majority of the fields. If we answer the questions with the information that covers the majority of the fields, then when we go to the field by field level, which we will do, we only have to edit and modify the information that needs to be changed. So therefore, we don't change as much information if we cover the majority. On the yield range, we start out with what our yield range average is for the last several years on the farm for both corn and for soybeans. Currently, the tool does not recommend information yet, does not recommend products for soybeans. You can pull them in and create a manual seed plan. But we're just a week or two away from this being activated the way that corn is, that we're going to share with you here this morning. So keep your eyes open for that. So next question asks is corn trait. We have 5 different options. You could choose all 5, but that's not going to save you time later. So you want to choose the one that you use predominantly, and then you modify the information at that field level. In this case, we're going to go with above ground only. In soybeans, the same thing. We have the herbicide resistant or not, or conventional. Tillage, again, based on your local area, what you consider conventional, minimal, or no-till, because everything is done in terms of advice and information pulled in at the local level. Okay, in this case, we're going to choose conventional, that is the majority of the fields, even though there's a couple of fields that are minimum till. Same way with maturity range. We could put 108 to 116 days in here in this part of Illinois, but the vast majority of the farm is going to get planted in this 110 to 114. So we plug that in, move those slider balls to set that up, and that saves us time. Again, with a phone or with a pad, we'd be doing the same thing with tapping that we're doing with clicks here on a PC. Same thing again for soybean maturity. Then we move to corn nitrogen management. We're looking at the total volume, so this is a 2-part question. Total volume of nitrogen pounds applied, not fertilizer, not credits, just total applied. And then we're looking to understand when's the last time it's really going on, because that's what's going to impact different hybrids differently about their need for later in-season nitrogen and what form, especially in ammonium nitrogen, to be available. So we have before planting, last application before V6, or that last application after V6, 3 broad categories. Choose the one that applies the most of the time. Same thing with fungicide. If you never, most of the time, you just don't apply it, that would be your choice. If you always, that would be your choice. Or if you base it on weather and scouting, that would be your choice. Tile drainage, again, specific to your area. No tiles are pretty much a no-brainer. Extensive tile would be pattern tile. Minimal or moderate would be what you consider in between that, where you have part of a field with just a few strings are out there, it might be minimal, or a field that has it scattered across it, but not in a pattern situation, and that might be moderate. Again, choose the one that fits the majority of the fields. Same way with irrigation, irrigation with limits or without limits. And then green snap. And green snap, again, is an area, more of an area concern where we have open country and winds that can get at us without protection. Again, this is the only one of the questions that I've showed you that is answered at the farm level only. This is not modifiable at this point at the field level, because we tend to find operations have this as a concern for the whole operation or not. So a high, medium, or low concern. So that quickly obviously faster than what I explained it. You can answer those questions for your farm, and now you've covered the majority of the information for your farm, and all you have to modify is the variables, okay? And we'll do that once we get the fields in. So now we're in the create field section, and you can see that based on the zip code I put in here, that it opened up to common land units here in this part of Illinois. We're going to click on one of those common land units. It wasn't, unfortunately, the one where the cursor was pointed, so sorry if that throws you off there. And you see that it turns red. Red indicates corn. All fields currently default to corn in the mixed matters tool, and we can change that. I'll show you that next. In the future, we will bring that information in and have the different crops offered up front, which you can again modify to correct. Now, what we start with is a simple question. This is a prompt. Every one of these screens that we showed you so far has a prompt on how to move forward with it, and this one's no exception. Is this the field? Is this one of the farms in the operation that you're looking at? You can say yes or no to that. If you say no, you can choose a different field. You can click on those trash bins to delete fields at any point that we're working with. But we're going to say yes, and we're going to get a prompt here that's a different kind of prompt. It says, would you like to add your fields manually, just like we did by a tap or a click? And if we had a small operation, that would be pretty quick and pretty easy to do. But if we have a larger operation, 30 fields, 50 fields, 100 fields, 200 fields, and with these common land units, it could be even more than that because multiple common land units to make up a field. We have the option of requesting information from Farm Market ID. So this is a service that we purchase, and this service provides public information from USDA, satellite imagery, information that people have openly shared, and information people have privately shared, but privately shared willingly, okay? And what it basically does, it connects fields together by farming operations. So it says, I believe these set of fields belong together in this farming operation. Now, it will miss fields that are not part of that based on just the time and records being kept up, and it will offer fields that aren't a part of that operation from time to time. Those can both be quickly added or quickly deleted. The point to it is, I can take 10 seconds and pull 30 fields in. I can't do that manually. I can take 15 seconds and pull in about 45 to 50 fields. Again, I can't do that in 15 seconds manually. So this is all to speed this process up. Okay, we are going to request from Farm Market ID, and this is an example. And this example did bring in these 30 fields in right at 10 seconds. Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to focus on one field for our example today. So we're going into this field and showing that if I do tap on it or click on it, that I can change it to soybeans and I can change it to other crops for managing my seed plans. Okay, so that's just how quickly we move from the fields to the crop. And then once we're to the crop, we're already then applying the information on a field by field level and now have the opportunity to edit that and make that correct. So now we see the field listed. Right now we haven't put a name on it, so it still says field 1. We can type that over and edit that. The crop type says corn. I could click on corn again right here and switch it to soybean or to other crops. You can see the maturity range has already been changed to 111 to 113 days, so it's been changed a little bit. You can see the estimated yield has been changed to 240. You can see that traits have been added. Now we have above and below ground as well. Okay, you can't see the rest of the questions, but they're all there for everyone. You can scroll down through those. Any information that wants to be edited or needs to be edited is simply clicked on. It brings the screen up like you initially saw to ask the question, make the edit, save it, and move on to the next one. We can walk through every field in the farm by doing this. We can also skip to see the entire field view. So if we were looking at multiple fields, they would show up in this summary this way. If you click on any field along that left-hand border there, it'll take you back to the map field that we were just on. You can also delete fields from here that you missed earlier that you didn't get rid of. You can also now open these up by clicking on the arrow or that expand collapse box right above that cursor hand right there and open all these up. So if you already have the fields named and this is your farm and you know what the fields are, you don't need to look at it at every field. You can simply scroll up and down through this. Here's all the questions, all the information, crop specific, that you can modify real quickly on what needs to be changed. If it doesn't need to be changed, you leave it alone and move on. And from there, it moves us into Seed Insights. And so what it's going to do now, it's going to offer advice. We'll explain to you in a minute where the advice comes from, but here's the advice. We're going to recommend the top product first. You can see it's selected here. It's recommending the 62C35. You see a planting rate is recommended. That's at a local level. You can see that the Smart Stacks trait has been recommended based on the information. It shows 100%, which we can modify. It shows the units. It also shows a trash band that says, I know you recommended that to me as my first option, but I want to skip it. It offers a second recommendation. In this case, we've chosen it as well to split the field 50-50. You can see it offers it at a different seeding rate. Again, it's recommending the Smart Stacks. That can be switched if you decide to override it, or you can go to the third option and consider that. In this case, we're going to skip the second option and say we're going to put option number 1 and option number 2 on this field. There are some other more intricate information here that we don't have time to go through this morning here. So I'll just keep moving forward with you on this highlight. We move then to the summary where it shows all the products. And again, if we open one of those product lines up, it'll show us the fields that that's recommended for. We still have the opportunity to modify the planting rate here. It'll give us our units, our traits, and our maturity. And that brings us then, now that we've made all these recommendations, to creating reports. To create a report, we have to have an Advantage Acre account, either one that's already been created and used, whether you're a dealer or the grower yourself, or one that you've created right now. And you have the choice of whether you want to send the fields back to Advantage Acre or not. Okay, you don't, even if you create the account, you don't have to move the fields from the Mixed Matters tool. But to move to these reports, we need to do that. The reports are in the form of a PDF. From the PC, we can print it directly. From our phone or tablet, we have to email it. There are 5 different aspects of the report that you can choose, mix and match. You have a summary page showing the whole farm and the name on the report. You have the second page we see here, which is the list of products by the products themselves, so a summary by products. Then we move to a summary by fields. So it shows the field, the trait, the maturity, the rates, and the units. And then we have every field's individual map and every field's individual characteristics that you've provided the information to. And then a brief summary. In this case, we're only showing one product recommended for this field. A brief rationale as to why that product was recommended. 3 quick statements to say, here's why this tool made this recommendation. Okay? And then finally, the last section available to you is the reports, the profiles, excuse me. So more for corn on the left or for soybean on the right. So I've been a little slow in my time here this morning, so we're going to run a couple minutes longer than the half hour, and I'll apologize for that. I hope no one runs out of time, but we will finish up in just a couple of minutes here. So how now are these recommendations made? Okay, you take them in, you told me that it tells me how to do this, and I can choose what I want to use, and I can modify what I want to use. How do you give me the advice? So let's start at the bottom. It starts with asking the grower's operation, either for the dealer to do or the grower, to fill out their production practices at that field level. So everything is based specifically on how they farm. Then it automatically pulls in, without any effort on the user's part at all, soil types and weather from Advantage Acre. It's bringing in the texture, sand, silt, clay, and it's bringing in drainage, and it's bringing in rainfall from April through September in 4 different ranges that's going to impact the growing season. So the recommendations you're plugging in right now with the Mixed Matters tool are based on next fall's cropping information that we pull from Advantage Acre. And then last but not least, we're applying the rankings that's done at the local technical team agronomist level. So this at the local level, how he ranks these products based on this information from the soil and weather and your farming practices with how these products behave. And making that rankings for the products themselves as to what to put where, as well as what rate to plant it at. All of that is coming from that technical team agronomist. So even though this is an automated tool, it all starts with a human being. And essentially, the Mixed Matters tool is like having LG Seeds technical team agronomist at your fingertips at all time. His advice and his insight is there, and it's managed throughout the course of the year. It's not a one and done. These products are managed. They can be modified if they see changes from what they expect pre-harvest to what they experience post-harvest, and from one year to another. So this is an active, engaged tool. And this is what they're considering. They're looking at the yield environments. They're looking at drainage. They're looking at fungicide need, how a product behaves with nitrogen and when it needs nitrogen, and what population it should be at, what its disease tolerance is, and applying all that information that the user provides for how he farms, what Advantage Acre provides with soil and with weather, with their insight about how to place this. So that's what they work through, and that brings us to now quickly to kind of summing this up. So this has been a highlight. It's been kind of quick. There's a lot more that you can take a look at, but for the most part, the tool will walk you through it. How do you get started? So on a PC, you can simply go to mixmatterstool.com. For an iPhone or iPad, the App Store, or for an Android, the Play Store, and download it is simply Mix Matters Tool. That's all you have to find. You can sign in. We talked about the 3 different ways to sign in, and then follow the prompts to create your seed plan. Again, you can work back through the menu. We didn't show you that. There's a menu button that you can work back and forth. You can tune in to the Field Series 101 sessions for your area. They're happening on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll still have one for this week and 2 more for next week to get a little more information, or work with your SAM, your STAR partner, on your local technical team agronomist to help you understand how to work with this. But basically, remember, this tool is doing all the things we've talked about in a very quick time frame. So it means that you can do it for your whole farm in a practical fashion. It'll take on a large operation, but would be days of work, and compress it to hours. And compress it to hours with insight, not guessing. It'll take hours of work and compress it to minutes, minutes into seconds. We've never had a tool available to do it this way. We've never had a tool that works so fast, so specific at the local level before. And that's what changes everything. So we hope that that causes you some real interest in the whole Mix Matters approach with these 3 components, using the Mix Matters tool to help you use both Mix Makers and Fast Track. We thank you for joining this morning. We look forward to working with you soon. Bye now.